I'm just going to let everybody join in the next few minutes. We had a lot of people in the waiting room, so it might take a couple minutes for them to come in. So I'm going to give it a couple minutes before I get started. If people can have their cameras on like you do, that's great. I love to see faces. Okay. So I'm sure we'll have some people trickle in, but I am going to get started. I want to respect everyone's time. Whoops, let's see. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here today. I'm really excited to deliver this information to you about Hair Loss Awareness Month. My name is Kate Bowser. I am the new director of scalp services at Evolve Salon Systems. If you don't know me, I've been in the industry for over 25, almost 25 years. I've done everything in the industry that there really is to do, except I've never actually been a sales consultant myself. But I've been an assistant, a stylist, an educator, a brand manager, a brand director. I've worked at Evolve as the specialist team leader and director. So I've really done a lot, and I've been in and out of salons for the past few years, really helping salons talk about scalp services. And I have seen a huge excitement when we bring up the word scalp. I think everyone understands that this is a topic in our industry that's definitely trending and a lot of people get excited about. And then I see confusion. People get really excited about the products and then they just kind of sit there and they don't know what to do with them. And so I'm really excited in my new role to help salons not only stay excited about this particular category in our salons, but also to be really effective and help you implement these services so that you can actually make the money that's there to be made with this category. So, Hair Loss Awareness Month is our very first campaign that I'll be doing in this new role. So, I'm really excited that you're here and we're going to get right to it. So, in this hour that a rough hour that we're going to spend together, I first want to talk about what's happening in the industry. Why are scalp services trending? And what else is happening in our industry that really makes scalp services such an important topic for you to embrace in your salon? We'll understand a little bit about hair loss. This is not going to be a full hair loss class, but we should talk a little bit about what's happening so you can recognize it in your salons and feel confident talking to your clients about it. Then I want to talk about how this helps you and how there really is a tremendous amount of revenue that can be made with this category. And then lastly, the piece that I think has been missing for so many salons is the setup. How do you actually implement these services and be successful in your salon? So what's happening right now in our industry is there is a huge, um, there's a really big revenue gap, and scalp services can absolutely be the way that we fill that. There's a ton of demand that we're seeing from our clients, and we'll talk about that in a few slides. But there's also a huge margin that is available when we talk about scalp services and the different types of scalp services that are available. And truly, that this is an untapped market. So many salons are not yet offering them. Again, a lot of people get excited, they buy some products, but they don't really know how to implement them. And so that's what can separate you from all of the other salons or the salons that have just decided to not even get into the scalp game at all. So kudos to you for being here today. This could be your first step, or maybe you already have scalp products and services on your menu, but they've just been sitting there. So whether you don't have anything in your salon yet, or you do and you really don't know what to do with it, you're in the right place, and we're going to tackle that today. So, if you are here because your DSC showed you some slides talking about what's going on in the industry, and that's what prompted you to join me today, some of these stats may be familiar to you. Or if you just heard about this webinar and you were excited and you hopped on, then maybe you've not seen these. But when I first saw these statistics, I truly was shocked. I think that we all can acknowledge that our growth in our industry has been slowing down. It is still growing, and that's exciting. But the growth is slowed down to just about 1.7% year over year. So that's not a ton of growth that we're seeing. And one of the main reasons is because hair color services are actually declining. We'll talk about why in a minute, but all is not lost. We do see some growth with other services in the salon. We see growth with conditioning treatments. They're growing about 1.1%. Blowouts are growing about 0.5%. But the real growth that we're seeing comes from scalp services, and those are 9% year over year. Like that's a huge number, right? So scalp hair care services down 1.6%, but scalp treatments are up 9%. And that's one of the reasons that we're so excited to bring you Hair Loss Awareness Month to jumpstart your scalp service game because this is where the growth can happen and our clients are already asking for it. So it's kind of like low-hanging fruit. So why is this happening? So why is color declining? It's really declining our color services for two reasons. The first is that more clients are embracing gray blending or growing out their natural color. So single process color clients used to be our bread and butter, right? They'd come in every 4 to 6 weeks. We could count on them. They were never going to let those roots show. And now more and more clients are deciding to grow it out completely. I think actually the full grow out of embracing their gray is decreasing a little bit, but definitely more and more clients are just blending their gray. Just anecdotally, I've not worked in a salon in about 12 years, but I still have a handful of clients, some neighbors and family members that I do hair. So overall, I maybe have 6 clients that I see, but of those 6, 4 of them have asked me to now blend their gray instead of cover it completely. I was sitting at a sporting event for my daughter, and just the group in front of me, again, there was like 5 women there, and 4 of those women I could tell were all just blending their gray, either with a demi-permanent or with highlights. So I'm seeing it everywhere. And so if I'm seeing it, I know you all are probably feeling it as well. So that's the first reason that color services are declining. And then the second is something that isn't necessarily new. The whole lived-in color has been around for, I would say, probably a decade. Um, but that was okay when you had your bread and butter every 4 week clients coming in. But now with both segments of our clientele wanting to stretch out their appointments, that means they're seeing you less and they're spending less money with you. And so that's the main reasons, both of those combined, that we're seeing a decline in color services. So we need to make up that revenue somewhere. And the natural place to do that is the place that our clients are already wanting and asking for, and that's in scalp services. So that begs the question, why is scalp surging right now, right? I think there's a lot of reasons, and it's actually good news that there are multiple reasons because it means people are coming to the scalp game from a variety of avenues. So the first is just a natural evolution of the skinification of hair. Okay. When I would say over a decade ago, I started seeing this term skinification with a lot of retail products. Retail brands started using skincare ingredients in their retail products. And so they started saying, if it's good enough for your face, it's good enough for your hair. That led to the your scalp as an extension of your face conversation, turned into healthy scalp, healthy hair. I also have been doing trend reports for sales consultants and salons for years. And what I've seen doing trend reports year after year after year is that trends don't just come out of nowhere and then completely disappear. Oftentimes, what happens is you have a trend, and then that trend morphs or evolves into something else. So, honestly, the skinification of hair that started over a decade ago, it was just so natural that we ended up here where the scalp is like the root of it all. Literally, I did not really mean for that pun, actually. But the scalp health, it was a natural evolution as soon as we started talking about skinification, right? The second is just a shift in focus toward wellness in all areas. So beauty from the inside out, people being, very conscious of what they eat or ingredients, that whole ingredient conscious consumer, all of that, I think naturally leads to people wanting to have a healthy scalp as well and to be pampered or treated in the salon. So I think that kind of makes sense. Menopause awareness in general is one of the reasons women lose hair. And, I joke all the time, but the minute Gwyneth Paltrow went through menopause, she made it everyone's problem. And I honestly have to thank her for that because it helped bring awareness to the fact that this is an issue that a lot of women go through. And so much of what women go through during perimenopause and menopause has been just that's normal. Everyone experiences it. It's kind of been swept under the rug. Now we have someone actually explaining, well, this is what's happening, and here's what we can do about it for all aspects, including hair loss. So The whole menopause conversation is a big part of Hair Loss Awareness Month and hair loss in general and scalp health in general. And then just more people experiencing hair loss. And we'll talk about telogen effluvium and the variety of reasons that people go through that process. But it's a huge number right now. And so that's another reason that more and more people are looking for hair growth services and help with the hair loss that they're experiencing. So within the scalp category, we have high demand, a really great margin for you all, and a largely untapped market. And all of that is leading to this 9% year over year growth and this amazing opportunity that you all have, which again is why I'm so excited that you're here today. So let's just talk about the numbers. Um, these numbers really pertain to androgenetic alopecia. So when I'll be completely honest, like I was a stylist, and when I worked behind the chair, androgenetic alopecia was, it is the genetic component of hair loss. And there were two types of alopecia that I was aware of back in the day, androgenetic alopecia and alopecia areata, which is when you get like one bald spot on the scalp, generally stress related. I would send people to a dermatologist to get some cortisone injections and kind of be done with it. I never really had a solution for them. And androgenetic alopecia, when I first started, I didn't think that there was a solution. But again, about over a decade ago, there were some really great products that came out on the market that could help with this. What's happening with androgenetic alopecia? Um, DHT builds up in the scalp and it suffocates the follicle and we lose hair. So if it's treated early enough, we can stop that and help to regrow hair. Sometimes it may be too far gone if we wait long enough. But it is the number one cause of hair loss worldwide. People think that it's mostly an issue for men, and it is a bigger issue for men. There are more men affected by it. About 50 million men in the US alone suffer from androgenetic alopecia. This is, male pattern baldness. So sometimes it starts in the crown, spreads to the whole top of the head. Eventually, they may become completely bald on top and just have the ring of hair around their head, their scalp. But it can also affect women, and about 30 million women in the US also can be affected by this. In women, it looks like a widening part that eventually just looks like really thinning on top where you can see the scalp in its most severe cases. About 66% of men by the age of 35 are experiencing some sort of hair loss that they can see. And then that number rises to about 85% by the age of 50. But 40% of all hair loss sufferers are women. And so if you think about your own clientele, they're probably sitting in your chair right now. And so one of the best ways that we can intervene is early or with prevention. So knowing what products you have that may help with this would be very helpful. But just realize that there are women sitting in your chair right now that are starting to suffer from androgenetic alopecia, and we want to be able to help them earlier than later. The second cause is menopause for hair loss. And I put it right after androgenetic alopecia because while it's not necessarily a genetic component, it's a similar cause in that DHT ends up building up in the scalp and we lose follicles that way. It looks different. It's a little bit more diffuse across the entire head. But the reason is a little different, right? So women have estrogen receptors on their hair follicles, and as estrogen declines, that just affects the hormones that are in the scalp interacting with the follicle. And so we do lose some of those hairs over time. It's not necessarily targeted to just the top of the head in women. Menopausal hair loss is looking like I said, more diffuse thinning, but kind of over time. It's not a rapid shedding like we're going to talk about with telogen effluvium. Um, Again, they may just get a widening part, some thinner looking hair. Maybe they say their hair just doesn't feel like it used to. These are some things that you might want to listen out for when you're doing your consultations and talking to your clients, especially in the next month. But that's what menopausal hair loss can look like and why it's happening. But the numbers are really staggering. 20 to 60% of women will experience some hair loss before the age of 60. 66% of postmenopausal women will suffer thinning or bald spots. and 55% of all women will have visible hair loss by the age of 70. So again, think about your clientele, and I'm assuming most of you all have predominantly women sitting in your chair. This is a lot of women that are being affected um, from perimenopause and menopause. And perimenopause can start up to 10 years before menopause. So that could look like maybe even late 30s or early 40s. So probably a good number of your clientele might be going through something like this right now. And then understanding telogen effluvium. So I'll be, again, completely honest. I had never even heard of telogen. I'm sure they talked about it in hair school. I don't remember. The first time I heard the term telogen effluvium was during COVID in some Facebook groups for hairstylists, when so many clients were losing hair rapidly because of COVID. And I knew that that people undergoing stress could experience hair loss. I absolutely had clients do that. I didn't know the term telogen effluvium was the reason, but we can have telogen effluvium happen for a variety of reasons. Definitely, like I said, major life stressors, emotional trauma, severe illness, like we saw during COVID, or high fever sometimes cause it. I've heard sometimes anesthesia, but rapid weight loss and nutritional deficiencies are another reason. So it's not necessarily a GLP-1 directly that's causing telogen effluvium, but if someone loses weight very quickly, which they sometimes do on a GLP-1, or they are taking in fewer calories or fewer nutrients, that may trigger the hair loss. And so and I think that we're all familiar with the postpartum hormonal shifts as well. So telogen effluvium looks different from hormonal hair loss in that it's very rapid. So here every time someone touches their hair, they have hair in their fingers. There's hair all over the pillow when they wake up in the morning, much more hair in the sink or in the drain in the shower when they do wash their hair. It's normal for people to lose 50 to 100 hairs a day. Telogen effluvium, that happens much more rapidly. So, our hair goes through a normal growth cycle of anywhere from 2 to 6 years, typically for a single follicle. And so eventually that follicle is like, okay, I'm done growing, and it falls out, which is where we get the 50 to 100 hairs a day. Intelligent effluvium, one of the reasons that we just discussed, acts on the body, and that hair falls out prematurely. It's not supposed to fall out yet. And so the follicle is just still kind of sitting there. And unless someone tells that follicle to like make a new follicle, it just sits there, and that's why we end up with thinning hair and thin hair. So there are some things that can absolutely help with this now, which is really fantastic. But sometimes clients, because it takes 2 to 3 months sometimes from the stressful event to the hair actually falling out, sometimes clients aren't making that connection. So they just think like, I don't know what's going on with my hair. It's up to us to kind of uncover. It doesn't really matter why, but if they are losing their hair rapidly like that, we want to intervene and help them, because we do have some products that can help stimulate hair growth and get their hair growing again faster than just waiting for the normal cycle to repeat itself. So you guys do not, I really want to stress that Hair Loss Awareness Month, it's a national campaign. People are going to be talking about it. So it's a great opportunity for you to, like I said, kickstart scalp services in your salon. But something that I have seen in the past few years going into salons talking about scalp services is salons feeling like, oh, so I need to become a scalp expert. I need to understand every mechanism. I need to maybe become a trichologist. I need to get a scope. I need to get all of this stuff before I can offer scalp services. And I want you to understand that that's not the case. I'm talking about these different mechanisms for hair loss just so you're aware of the number of people that need our help. At the end of the day, it doesn't actually matter why they're losing their hair. Um, we want to be able to offer a solution. And so if you can notice it, then you can start that conversation. Okay, so that's really why I wanted to go through this, so you can understand that there's so many different types of reasons that people need our help and that we have solutions for them. And even if you just want to offer scalp services that don't relate to hair loss, this is a great month to do it, because in general, we'll just be talking about scalp health this month. So again, I wanted to talk about these so you can understand the sheer numbers of people we're discussing, and so that you can help to recognize it. But don't let this make you feel like you have to go become an expert in all things hair loss in order to have a successful Hair Loss Awareness Month. Okay. So moving on, the reason we wanted to bring you Hair Loss Awareness Month as a really great way to grow your business is because the market is already moving this way, right? By the global scalp care market is projected to exceed $25 billion by 2030. And all of the big names out there are already starting to take advantage of this knowledge. And so if you are not offering solutions in your salon, your clients will be going to places like Sephora and Ulta because they're probably buying makeup there anyways, or they're on Amazon and they will see it there. And so we want to make sure that you're capturing these dollars in your salon and not losing out to other retailers. So that's the first reason. Um, the other is, we talk about retention and the stats around that. I think we all know that, if someone gets two services from you, retention goes up. So if someone only gets one service from you, and a basic service, like maybe a haircut, maybe one of those single process clients that are still out there, they're not all going away. The retention rate for that is around 40%. If that client gets a service and buys some retail from you, the retention rate goes up to about 60%. But if you can offer a specialized treatment service to a client, the retention rate goes up to 75% and above. So offering some of these specialized services, whether it's scalp treatments or hair loss services, is a really great way for you to increase retention and make sure your clients are staying in your chair and not going to a salon that is offering these services. The other is that scalp treatments are a really great revenue generator because oftentimes the actual service application per service is only $3 to $5, and you can charge anywhere, depending on how long the service is, 15 up to 75 plus dollars. So the markup on scalp services is really tremendous. And so we want to make sure that you are not losing clients to other retailers, and then also keeping the clients that you have and making sure that you're offering really high revenue, profitable services in your salon, which is what Evolve is always wanting you all to do all the time. And so Hair Loss Awareness Month is just a really great time because it is a national campaign. This isn't something that Evolve made up. This is just, like we talk about, like it's National Avocado Day, it's Rainbow Day, it's whatever it is. It's National Hair Loss Awareness Month. We're probably going to be seeing a lot of posts about it, and your clients might have a heightened awareness. It's a great time for you to take advantage of an awareness month that absolutely can help you make more money. So the other reason is because August tends to be kind of a slower month in salons, right? People are still finishing up vacations. We're not, I mean, some of the country is back to school in August actually, but a lot of times it's still kind of slow in the salon. It's not fully back to school season yet. And so it's one of the slower months of the year. And so that means you might have extra time in your book, and your revenue might not be what you want it to be. So I think that we all know that holiday, the month of December, we often talk about as a 13th month in the calendar year for salons specifically. More clients are coming in, they want to look good for the holidays and all of their holiday parties. And then they tend to be also purchasing holiday promotions. And so that's why you'll probably be hearing from your DSE soon about all of the holiday promotions available for this year. But that's why December can be such a powerful month. We want to turn August into your 14th month. So here are some numbers that show the power of offering scalp services in your salon and how if you start with it in August and continue, think about the revenue you could generate. Okay. So if you're an independent stylist or you're just someone who works in a salon and you're like, I just don't really know that I want to do it, right? I want to try to convince you with some numbers because I know sometimes learning about new services, having new conversations with clients, we have to get out of our habit. We have to stop having the same conversations that we have with our clients every single time they come in. Yes, it takes a little bit more work, but you can make so much more money. And wouldn't that be great? And you can help your clients at the same time. So for an individual stylist, these numbers, I kept them super duper easy. Okay. So I'm sure you see more than 10 clients a week. I'm sure your average is more than $100. Okay. But I just wanted to keep really easy numbers for easy math. So let's say that you see 10 clients a week and you charge about $100 per ticket on average. That's around $4,000 a month that you make in baseline revenue. Okay, so that's the number we're going to go with. Let's say you upgrade two clients a day to a $40 scalp detox and you sell them a $40 retail. These numbers are super average because depending on the service that you are, the service that you're offering, it could be much more, or the retail could be a whole system of a shampoo, a conditioner, and a serum, or a much more expensive serum. So these numbers, again, I just wanted to keep them super simple. Um, but I ran these numbers by people that work directly with salons, and they absolutely check out by numbers that they're seeing. You could increase your treatment revenue by $400 and your retail revenue by $400, which would lead to a monthly increase of $3,200 a month, right? Those are some powerful numbers. I wouldn't mind increasing my revenue per month by $3,200. If you're a salon owner and you have five stylists in your salon, maybe each stylist only increases or upgrades one client per day with the scalp service and a retail kit. If we're using those same $40 numbers, again, they could be higher. You're looking at almost $100,000 in new revenue in a whole year. So we're not talking about small numbers. I know sometimes when we look at an upgrade or an upgrade, a service upgrade, sometimes when we see like, oh, it's just $30 here, $30 there. Number, it's probably a short amount of time. And if you can market it appropriately so that every single client could benefit from something, then if every client is getting that upgrade, it doesn't matter that it's a small amount because you can offer it to a lot of people. Do you know what I mean? So, um, tons of revenue available in scalp services depending on how you market it. So, whether you're here because, like I said before, you already have scalp services in your salon and maybe they've just been sitting there. Maybe you um, were on Evolve IQ and you saw some of the hair loss awareness promotions that we are offering. And so you bought into those and you want to learn how to promote them. Great. Or maybe you're here just because you want to learn a little bit. I really hope that you all take away from this webinar today that there's a ton of revenue for you and it can start in August. And let's use August as the jumping off point. But this should be a year-long campaign that you do. And this could be how we replace the loss of revenue that we're seeing from the decrease in hair color services. Okay, so that's really what I'm hoping that you all get out of today's presentation. So, like I said, I've been in salons for years now talking about scalp services. And what I saw was, yes, excitement, then confusion. And one of the reasons see confusion with salons is because people see on Instagram scalp spas and they think, oh, I need to like go all in on a scalp spa, or I need to buy a scope, or I heard about this hair loss product, and they're kind of lumping everything in together and they're not being very strategic about how they promote each one. And so when I think of scalp health or scalp services in general, I've created three buckets. Okay. So for the purposes of Hair Loss Awareness Month, I don't want you thinking that you have to go out and fill all of these buckets. Okay. In fact, I kind of don't want you to. For Hair Loss Awareness Month, it starts in 11 days. I want you to use what you have in the salon. Now, if you've been in conversation with your DSC about thinking about bringing in a new brand or one of these products, and you're already like almost there and you're excited and this is what gets you over that hump, great. But do not leave here thinking like, oh my God, well, Kate said I need to fill every single bucket and that's so overwhelming, so I'll just do nothing this year. Everyone on this call right now, I guarantee you, has at least one product in your salon that is dedicated towards the scalp because every retail brand out there is making something because everyone knows that scalp is the future. Okay. So the at-home topicals, I'll start with number 3 over here. That is in your retail world. Like I said, every retail brand now is making something for the scalp. If you don't have anything else dedicated for scalp services and you still want to get involved with Hair Loss Awareness Month, you absolutely can. Go to Evolve IQ if you haven't already. Type in, I think, scalp promotions. It's in the success guide. If you haven't downloaded my success guide yet, I'm going to reference it in the next few slides. But I tell you exactly what to search for in Evolve IQ. Evolve has put together promotions for you to buy in at a great price that you can then pass along to your clients next month. Okay. So, like I said, start there if you have nothing else. So now I'm going to come back over and start with my number one bucket. Um, and so that's in salon scalp treatments. Okay, so in salon scalp treatments, there's two branches. One is your quick add-ons that happen at the sink. They tend to be 5 to 15 minutes in length. On the lower end, price point wise, because it's only 5 to 10 minutes, which makes it a really easy yes for almost every client. You can have different options for these quick add-ons so that you literally could have something for everyone. Okay. It could be something that exfoliates the scalp. You can have something else for dry sensitive scalps. You could have something that's just like nice and soothing, right? There's different ways you can promote them to market to every single person. But quick add-ons, 5 to 10 minutes at the sink. You don't need any special equipment. Okay. You don't need a scope. You don't need the fancy rain thing that goes on the sink, okay? You can just offer them, all right? The second in-salon scalp treatment is for your scalp spas. So if you are a salon that has a spa attached, great. Do you have people that want to offer scalp services in a more pampering environment? Okay. Scalp spa services are absolutely booming. They do require more investment. You probably need a bed. You might want to have a special faucet. You're going to offer way more massaging. It's going to take longer. And you need to make that client feel pampered because you're charging much more money for a scalp spa service. They're trending. People want them. They're great. You can incorporate a scope if you want. You don't have to. But so those are the two types of in-salon scalp treatments. And once I talk to salons about that, they all seem to kind of get it. Like I see light bulbs go off on their head. So you can offer both, you can offer one or the other, but that's what we're talking about when we talk about scalp treatments. Sometimes it's to solve an actual scalp issue, like maybe they have oily dandruff, maybe they have excessive oil, maybe they have dry flakes. So you could solve a problem, or you could offer those services just as a soothing experience at the sink. Okay, everyone loves an extra head massage. In-salon scalp treatments should have some sort of massaging involved. Okay. That's what people think of when they think of a scalp treatment. The brands that naturally come to mind for those are Saphira and Specifici from Activa. Okay. So if you have either of those brands, they're a natural fit for you to offer in-salon scalp treatments. Hair loss services are a separate bucket. Okay. So hair loss services are really no massaging involved. They can be a dedicated service that you block off time, depending on which service you're offering. It could be a 5 to 15 minute service, so you might not even not need to block off time for it. You can just apply it at your chair. Or if it's something like calisum, I would say you'd want to block off at least 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes for someone newer to it, because you want to show them how to do the service at home. The beauty of hair loss services is that yes, it can be a service for you in the salon, so you can make some service revenue. But then there's a whole system that they're taking home, and that's where a lot of the revenue comes from. So I would recommend the hair loss services. You're booking them at week 1 and week 6, and then they come in at week 6, and you take some follow-up pictures and decide what's the next treatment option. Okay. These are different from in-salon scalp treatments, and they should be different on your salon menu. Okay. You'll charge per time, and then of course you'll build the product into that service. And then the third, like I already mentioned, are the at-home topicals. Every retail brand has them. Maybe that's where you start. If you are already involved in bucket 1 or 2, you naturally have a bucket 3 because whether you're offering in-salon scalp treatments or hair loss services, there's something within those treatments that your client can take home, whether it's a shampoo, an exfoliator scrub, a mud for their scalp. Calisum and P Factor are the two hair loss services that are systems that actually have a treatment you could do in the salon. Okay. So you might be involved in all 3. You might be involved in 2, maybe just at-home topicals for now. Start for this August, this Hair Loss Awareness Month, start where you are. Please do not get too involved. Don't overcomplicate this. Again, it's in 11 days. But you absolutely can do this, and it's a great jumping off point. I think I mentioned I will be relaunching the Scalp RX program later this year. And so start where you are now. If you're intrigued and you want to dive more into scalp services, I might be talking to you later this year, and that's great. And we'll talk about what that can look like. But for this month, we really just want to encourage you to get started and do something and just start that conversation. Okay? So, how are you going to be successful? The first step is to build the menu. So, we just talked about the three buckets. If you're a salon owner, decide, do you want to do promotions with all, and you have all three buckets? Are you promoting all of your scalp services this month? Is there one that's just kind of been sitting there not doing much and you want to focus on that one? You decide, first create a very clear menu, and then decide for Hair Loss Awareness Month, what do I want to actually promote? Like I said, Evolve has promotions in Evolve IQ already for you. You can pass along those savings to your clients, which make another easy yes, which is great. So build your menu and make it super clear. Then make sure your team is trained. Okay, so make sure that everyone on your staff that's offering scalp services understands what is the product, what is the service, who is it for, how long does it take, how much does it cost, how do I talk about it? Okay, so make sure your team is trained, and we'll do that with a team huddle. And then you're going to want to make sure you merchandise your salon. Merchandising is the key to having all of this be super successful. It's going to start the conversation for you, and it's going to do half of your selling for you, completely honest. So we're going to talk about how to merchandise your salon next. So why does merchandising matter? First, it sets the stage. When clients come in and they see your salon merchandised for Hair Loss Awareness Month or for scalp services, it's going to trigger something in their mind. Oh, you know what? I have noticed that my hair is just not quite the same. I feel like it's thinning. Is it just a different texture? Maybe I should talk to my stylist about it because maybe they do have a solution. I just didn't even think that they had anything because I've never had my stylist say anything to me. So it literally starts the conversation before you do and starts selling for you. It also removes some of the awkwardness because instead of you just trying to convince them that they need something without having found a need, it sets the stage that they may even bring it up to you. And the merchandising itself can inform and provide solutions for your clients without you having to say anything first. It also just gives you some extra trust, and it builds confidence in your expertise as a stylist if they see that you have scalp services and you're going to be educated on them. So you're going to know how to talk about them. They'll see you as an expert and they'll trust what you have to say. And then, like I said, it might just trigger something in them to start a conversation for you. So, super important that you merchandise your salon to set yourself up for success. What does that merchandising look like? We're going to create displays around the salon in a variety of ways. So the first off, we know that eye level point of sales displays drive purchases up 82%. So we all know at the grocery store, like the stuff at the top shelf and the bottom shelf rarely get purchased. The stuff right in the middle is often what we grab. So the same is true in your salon. So at the front desk where they're checking in, where they're purchasing, you want to make sure you have a display that's right at eye level. Would make sense to group products together that go together. So maybe a shampoo, conditioner, and serum are all displayed together instead of in separate categories on the shelf. Even if it's two separate brands, maybe you're doing a whole hair loss awareness month and there's a treatment that they can take home, but it doesn't have a shampoo and a conditioner. Put the shampoo and conditioner next to the treatment, right? So you put together products that make sense to solve the problem that you're helping to solve in a display where they can see it right at eye level. Perfect. I also think if you do have a waiting room, clients are sitting in a chair, they're probably sitting there looking at a phone. Right beyond their phone is maybe a table. And if you had a display there, it might catch their eye. So that would be another great place to put some displays. And of course, on our stations. You also want to have some high contrast shelf talkers or station talkers around the salon. Definitely get the shampoo bowl in the front, in the waiting area, possibly, any surface around the salon. You want to catch their attention. So try to make it high contrast, maybe bright colors if it fits your salon aesthetic, or bold outlines, bold colors, just bold print, I mean. So something that will catch their attention, but selling some of the services that maybe you're offering that month. These types of shelf talkers often increase services or sales by 35%. Definitely hands-on tester bottles at your station. So if there's a serum that you want them to purchase, just have one open at your station so they can feel the consistency, they can feel how lightweight it is. You could show them how to use it. Those are absolutely great, 40% more likely to purchase if you have that. But I saved the most important one for last. So we have found salons that use QR codes on as a mirror cling are having so much success selling their scalp services. We have a brand, Calisum. You may have it in your salon, you may not. It's okay if you don't. They have a mirror cling with a QR code. A lot of salons bring in Calisum. Some of them are very successful with it. Some salons, sometimes it just sits for a second. We have found that the salons that have the mirror clings on their mirrors with the QR code have so much more success with the brand because honestly, for that QR code, it goes directly to the brand's website and they sell the service for you. And so salons are sitting there in your chair. No offense, but at some point they might get a little bored. And so they'll use their phone, they'll scan the QR code, and then it's educating your clients in your chair for you. So if you have a brand that has a QR code, absolutely put it on every single station. But in the success guide that I created for you, I gave you other ideas. So if you don't carry a brand that has it, you still can utilize this really powerful merchandising tool. So I created different ideas for you to link to a QR code, told you how to create a QR code, and then also websites that will make mirror clings for you. So again, if you haven't downloaded the success guide, I have a lot of extra information in there. But how to make a mirror cling with a QR code is if you take nothing else away, like that can do so much selling for you. I encourage everyone to utilize it for sure. So these are some really important ways to merchandise your salon to set your stylist up for success. But ultimately, you as a stylist still have to have a conversation with your clients. Okay, so you have to bring it up at some point. You can't just let the salon magically infiltrate into your clients' brains and then have them ask you for everything that you want to offer them. So make sure that you're starting the conversation, okay? So before you can do that, you really need to understand what do you offer? What are the benefits? How do they work? So spend some time understanding all of the services that you're offering this month and beyond, and the products that are available to you, okay? So dedicate some time in the next 11 days to learn what makes each scalp product unique. What's the key ingredient? What is the mechanism for how it works? What results can they expect? How does it actually work on the scalp or on the follicle? If it's a topical, how do you actually apply it to the scalp so that you can demonstrate for them? Okay. Know your salon treatment inside and out, the salon treatment menu. Learn how to perform it confidently. Practice with a coworker. Do the treatment on each other so that you can understand how it feels, but also how to perform it. Know how long it takes, know how much it costs, know how much time it takes. Okay. Again, if you can have quick add-ons or easy yeses for your clients, that's going to be the most powerful for this month. And then set the stage for possible other services in the future. But if you feel like you're selling, it's often because you don't fully understand or you aren't fully behind the product itself. If you believe in the product and you know how it works and you know what it can do, then you're not selling. You are providing a solution to the right client that you know is going to change their life. And then at that point, you're literally just helping them. You're not even selling. And the key to that is education. So make sure you understand the products and how they're used and what makes them so powerful. And that is really the key to being successful in all, honestly, in all sales, but specifically for scalp services, because it is a bit newer for us, right? And something new to talk about. So I know it's new. So I've created a script cheat sheet for you. It's also in the success guide. So if you've downloaded it, you've already seen these. I don't necessarily need to walk through them, but I gave you some different options on how to start the conversation, right? So maybe you're just very naturally during your consultation, you're should be looking at their hair and scalp anyways. So maybe you just notice like, oh, like I'm noticing that your part seems a little thinner. Have you noticed this at home? I noticed your scalp seems a little bit more dry, has some flakes. Have you noticed that at home? It's Hair Loss Awareness Month. We have this option. It's only X number of minutes to do. How about we add that on today, right? If you have a scope or you feel very inclined on explaining mechanisms, like give that information to your clients and truly lean into being the expert in hair loss and explaining what's happening to them, they absolutely will understand and then trust you and probably want to do whatever you say to do, right? Um, if you feel like your client is maybe too embarrassed to bring it up, sometimes you bringing up a topic of hair loss and saying, like, I have so many clients that are experiencing hair loss right now, or I have so many clients that are experiencing buildup on their scalp. Have you noticed this? Is this something you're experiencing yourself? So, kind of grouping it into like a lot of people are going through this right now. You're not alone. It's okay to talk about this, could be a nice way to bring that up. And then if you are someone who's working the front desk or you want to have your front desk also talk about this, making sure that your front desk is really well educated on services to book for next time or for products to go home with clients to support scalp health. So making sure that everyone in the salon is involved in Hair Loss Awareness Month is how you'll all be really successful. So to recap, how to help you make the most money in August. First, download the success guide if you haven't already. It includes a step-by-step list on everything you need to be successful. Okay, so how to pick your promotions, where to find them in Evolve IQ, how to merchandise your salon. We have a full social media guide in there. So, post ideas, Lisa Bean worked with me on putting that together. So, we've given you a full content calendar for the month of August. So, that alone is worth using the success guide. All of the cheat sheet, conversation starters I have in there. I have the how to make a QR code, how to make a mirror cling, and then also ideas on shelf talkers. So some things that you could print and put in frames around the salon to drive traffic. So the success guide has everything you need to be successful. So first steps there, download that. Then make sure your team is all on the same page. So lead or attend a team huddle. Make sure everyone knows which promotions you're actually offering for the month. Are there new services that you're offering? What are they? How do we do them? Make sure everyone's on the same page about what we're doing for Hair Loss Awareness Month. Step three, as a stylist, make sure that you learn the products and the services so that you feel really confident talking about them. Because then again, it does not feel like selling, it feels like helping. And then fourth, lean into your why. Like we're in such a powerful position in this industry. Not only do we get to make our clients feel beautiful, but we get to give them confidence back. And we absolutely have a way to help them with something that a lot of women are struggling with and men are struggling with, and it makes them feel less than confident sometimes. So if you can be the solution and give them that confidence back and make them feel amazing, like what a blessing that is for all of us. And so lean into that we're in such a beautiful place to be in the industry and we have such a great opportunity to help. Okay, so that truly is why we're doing what we're doing, and that's really what this month can be about for you. So, thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you found it inspiring, and I hope it gave you some ideas on how to be successful next month. I am going to stop sharing my screen, and I don't know if there have been any questions in the chat box, but Colleen, if you want to pull it up, or if anyone has any questions that you want to ask now, we have about 9 minutes before we're through. So I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone has. I didn't want to answer them throughout the presentation because we had a bunch of people join, which is exciting. But I just wanted to make sure we had time to get through all the content.
There have not been any questions yet, but I did link the success guide. So if everybody wants to just click on it, they can download it right now.
Perfect.
So
I have a
Awesome.
question.
Yeah.
And when I tried to put something in the chat, it said that it had been disabled, so I
Oh,
couldn't put
okay.
anything in there. So just to let you know.
Thank you.
Um, but I currently use Away for my hair loss. And I use the trichoderm, and I'm wanting to convert away from Away into calcium and some of the other stuff, like the different RX stuff. And I'm really not familiar with all that is. I'm just learning. Um, so I'm just curious as far as if it's not the calcium, maybe
Callusum? Callus.
calcium.
Yeah.
And it's one of the others with the shampoos and the different things. I'm looking at some people that I currently have in the salon that have very sensitive scalps, and then some that have like psoriasis that are things that we've got to take care of to work toward the getting the hair back. So, how does that play into what these products are
So, where are you located?
in Georgia?
Okay, so I would suggest we can have there's Evolve has a whole portfolio of scalp products, which is really amazing because it gives you some options. And so there's not a necessarily one size fits all perfect product for every salon. So I would suggest having a conversation with your DSC about which brands would make the most sense to solve the different problems that you have. Um, Calisum does a really good job of creating just a really healthy scalp environment that can promote growth. It reduces inflammation. It does, like I said, help grow the hair, just create really healthy follicles. Um, it's
So
not,
it would actually work on the psoriasis and the
so
sensitivity?
that's what I mean. It's not necessarily going to
Okay,
solve a sensitivity
gotcha.
and a psoriasis problem. So
Okay,
you will probably need a couple different avenues, which is always good anyways, because you can also then have different price points for
right.
products,
Okay.
right? Um, Specifici from Activa has some products that are specific for like, and it's just shampoos and professional scalp treatments in the salon. So there's no at-home treatment, but there are shampoos and treatments dedicated to sensitive scalps, to people with psoriasis. There's one specific that they could use. Um, and so that's something that you could use in the salon to give them some treatments, but there's not necessarily a treatment at home. So again, you can mix and match and like use different products and like maybe they use that shampoo with a different serum at home. So we just have so many options that I don't
Okay.
want to like mention too many and then people think like, oh, well, then she didn't mention this one and that,
Yeah.
So we can have a private conversation or, we can work with your DSC to help set you up, but that's really what Evolve does best is give every salon a specific roadmap that works for them with the price points and the different needs that their clients have.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. Any other questions since the chat was disabled? Is there going to be a scalp class? Yes. So I am revamping the Scalp RX program. And so I will be having a variety of classes. I have two in mind, one to help people like understand the different buckets and pick the right products for what they're looking for. And then another one so if you haven't ever had a class with me, before I got into hair, I worked in science and I worked in a molecular biology research lab. So I like love the chemistry and the science behind all things hair. Um, and so I would love to create a class that dives into the different mechanisms that actually help promote hair growth. So, what are stem cells? What are peptides? What are like all the different avenues? Like how do we stimulate bulge stem cells? Why is saw palmetto extract so important? So, kind of understanding all of those ingredients and hair growth mechanisms. So, definitely be on the lookout for classes launching later this year or early next year for scalp awareness for sure. Because I really want people to understand like going to trichology school can give you a lot of information and that can be fun and interesting, but you absolutely can offer scalp services without doing that. So don't feel like you have to do that in order to be successful with this category.
Hey, I have a follow-up to that.
Yeah.
With like Scalp Awareness Month being next month, like is there um somewhere that you could possibly like send us to get like an overall of like scalp issues so that we can, I don't know exactly how to ask it, but like I want to deep dive into scalp health and know the whys and like the behind the scene, like what I'm looking for.
Mhm.
I do have like a scope, but and I did read some books and stuff, but is there like a go-to guide to help us through this month of August of offering like we can offer the scalp treatments and all that stuff, but like the whys, like what we're doing that for, other than just like, oh, your scalp is dry, or they're like,
Yeah,
I'm having hair loss. Okay, that can be this many things. Let's do that, like
totally.
an overall.
Yeah, I totally hear you. And you sound like someone very similar to me. Like, I often want to know all the things before I dive in and talk about something. And I understand why you want to be like that, because again, I'm the same way. And eventually we can get there. But this is a new position, and Hair
Mhm.
Loss Awareness Month is in August. And so I, for a minute, when I first came into this role, I tried to get everything done by August. And I was like, okay, well, that's not going to be possible. So next year, Hair Loss Awareness Month will probably look very different, and all of those guides will be available. This
Okay.
month, what I would encourage you to do is look in your salon. What products do you have that are dedicated to the scalp? And just for now, understand them very well and what benefits can they provide to your clients and who are they for? And
Okay.
for this month, just do, it's going to be really basic this year. And for someone like you and me, like it kind of pains me a little bit to not go like all in, but
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that we can't help with the client with the products that we have now. So it's better to do something this month, make the extra revenue this month. And then over the next months, we will get all of that stuff ready for you. And then we can dive in. And again, this is just about starting a conversation. And it doesn't mean in September, you're not still going to be talking about scalp. Hopefully, this is so successful and it becomes a habit in the month of August that by September and October and through the end of the year and then early in January, you're still doing scalp services and you can continue to learn. But for next month, just figure out what do you have in your salon? Who can it help? How can you do it? Start talking about stuff while you continue to do the learning. And don't wait until you know everything before you start talking. Does that make
Thank
sense?
you. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? Awesome. Well, thank you so much for spending time with me. I have recorded this and I will be sending out the recording and I'll also send you all my slides. Colleen has shared the success guide. It really has way more information than I even shared in this 1 hour. Again, we have a full social media content calendar in there for you, ideas on how to promote it in the salon. So that has a lot of great information. I really am so grateful that you spent so much time with me today. It's been a pleasure. And if you have any other questions, please reach out to your DSC and then maybe we can be connected after.